Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Steel City Commuters podcast. I am Austin Carnes, joined here with my good friend, Mr. Downtown Nicholas Brown, back for another episode. And today we are bringing on yet another very special guest. We're starting to bring on a lot more guests on Steel City, just like we are on Two Jagoffs. And this week we're bringing on one of my good friends, right out of Point Park University. He is 1/4 of the Have a Shift Day podcast, fellow Sports Comm student, Mr. Ryan Jones. Ryan, it's good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you, too.
Good to see you.
What an intro. Thank you.
Good to, had a channel in the inner wrestling a little bit. You know what I mean?
It. Yeah. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I've been watching this podcast for a little while, definitely while doing some homework, with what we get from our amazing teachers. But yeah, I know. But it's nice to be able to relax and just hear other students and your friends do podcasts. So it's really cool to be on. So thank you.
Absolutely, man. I've been wanting to get you on specifically for a while because you share a pretty similar interest that I do in professional wrestling, which we're definitely going to be talking about a little bit later on. But I want to start off with Point Park University. You're here, I'm here, Nick's here. What brought you to Point Park University?
So I was my junior year of high school. Now, I did theater growing up my entire life. I was in musical theater, like grade school, high school, all that type of stuff. And my friend since birth, his name's Ben Kuharski. He's a senior here. He does theater. I did theater with him in high school, and I've known him since birth. And I had no idea Point Park even existed. When I thought of Pittsburgh, like most people do, I thought of Pitt. And that was about it. So, I remember he said, I'm going to Point Park and I'm doing it for theater. It's a great school. It has a great communications program. It has a great theater program. And first I was going to come here for theater and nowhere near sports broadcasting. Mm-hmm. And I was like, but I really love sports. I want to do something with that. And I'm going to look into this place. So I look into this place. I come down, I shadow, take a little tour. And I just saw, I was like, wow, this communications place is great. The opportunities. I heard you can have an internship with the Penguins. Bernie told me that. And I was like, it's set. It's set. So I wanted to take my love of theater and going in front of an audience and take my love of sports and put them together. And sports broadcasting came, and this seemed like the school for me.
Absolutely. And not only that, you're pretty heavily involved here as well. I've seen you do Pioneer Sideline. You do a lot within Sports Comm Club, which I do got to give you credit on. I listened back to your game with McKenna Smith you called on soccer. I think you were on play-by-play. She was on Keller. Dude, you sound like a pro. You sounded really good. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I got to give you credit on that because I watched back a lot of the game. I try and watch back as much as I could, and I just happened to tune in the soccer game the one weekend, and I listened to you, and I was like, okay, Ryan, you sound really good with this.
Oh, well, thank you so much.
You sound like a pro there because McKenna, I say she's like the soccer guru here. She knows pretty much everything about soccer.
Right, yeah.
And you bounced off each other really well, so I got to give you credit for that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that was doing it with her. That was the first time I did it.
That was your first time?
Yeah, it was my first time ever. So
ever doing any kind of play-by-play? Or?
Yeah, that was ever.
Dude, you sounded really good.
Oh, well, thank you.
Swear to God, yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely it's fun. I didn't know last year I wasn't a part of the Sports Comm group, and I wanted to get into that. Last year I more focused on sideline, and I was like, I want to get into play-by-play. I want to do that because eventually that's the career I want. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is going to take a while to get a part of it. I shadowed twice, and they're like, all right, you're on. I'm like, I'm on? What do you mean? They're like, yeah, tomorrow you're on. So I'm scrambling for notes, and it turned out pretty well. So
it did. And I know they're doing like a new cam now too. Like we have to be in front of the camera before like the actual broadcast stuff, like a little pregame segment too, which I think is pretty cool. But no, it sounded pretty good from at least what I listened to. So
thank you so much. I appreciate that.
But not only that, you're also involved with another podcast. There's a lot of podcasts at Point Park. We talk about Two Jagoffs, which is my personal baby. I love Two Jagoffs. This podcast, Steel City Commuters. You got We Are Family. And then you got Have a Shift Day. That's the podcast that you're on.
Yeah.
You're 1/4 of it. Megan, Nick, Jake, talk to me a little bit about that. How did Have a Shift Day form?
Have a Shift Day formed the year before I showed up to Point Park. And I knew, so basically for those who don't know, it's a Penguins-based podcast. They talk about the NHL. They have a Penguins segment. We do little fun things every week, like trivia. We sometimes bring on guests. But yeah, we love talking about hockey. It's not really as popular as I'd say either baseball or football here. Around Pittsburgh. So getting that group of people to talk hockey. I remember I came into sideline one day and I was talking to Jake, and Jake was like, you're a hockey fan. I'm like, it's everything to me. Hockey's everything. So he's like, we need to get you on the podcast sometime. So it started off as just being a guest on the podcast and kind of just understanding what it was like to them offering me a spot, which is pretty cool. So yeah, it's just Penguins based hockey. Overall, just fun to be able to chat with people about that sport, especially from where I came from in Erie. Hockey's not the biggest. We have the Otters, which Connor McDavid came from, but that's basically every claim to fame Erie has. That's about it. So coming to Pittsburgh and actually be able to talk about it's really cool. But yeah, it's definitely a good group of people and have some good conversations every week.
So how long was Have a Shift Day formed before you came on? It was Megan, Nick, and Jake that initially started, and then you kind of came on as the guest and then started actually becoming a key contributor to it?
Yeah, they did it for a year before. So
Oh, wow,
they had 1 year. It was 20. What were you in? 20. We're in 25 now,
25.
right? Yeah.
Wow.
Holy cow. So yeah, 25 last year, 24. So it was 2023. First time the Penguins didn't make the playoffs. Rough one. But yeah, they started it. They did it for an entire season from October to May. And yeah, so they did it for a full season, got some people on. I had a few guests on every now and then. And in the second year, that's when I joined.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Ryan, can you talk about your experience at Point Park, your experience with Have a Shift Day, and where you see you ending up? You want to stay local in Pittsburgh? How do you see all these connections and opportunities growing on you?
Yeah, I think that with what Point Park does is the experience I've had so far has just been tremendous. And I don't think you could do it in a lot of other schools. You go to a bigger name school like Pitt or places like, especially they're D1. So ESPN's covering those, Sports Center's covering those. You don't get an opportunity to have that spot. You can do some behind the stuff, but you never can do hands-on. And so far through the classes I've had, being able to go completely hands-on immediately and having that opportunity to be able to call games. I'm a sophomore. Normally, if you go to a bigger school, you might never even get to call a game, let alone maybe you get it senior year, you get that opportunity, and some people don't even get to do that. And I'm a sophomore, had the opportunity as a freshman. So it's great that this school can give you opportunities to be able to go hands-on, because what I want to do later on, I want to be a play-by-play or an analyst, just something along the lines for a professional hockey team. Now, either working for TNT, ESPN, something along those lines, or just working for a team and that team in general, kind of like Sportsnet Pittsburgh does for the Penguins. I want to be in that position. And so far, I think, I don't want to say the advantage over other people from different colleges, but Point Park definitely does a good job on giving you that hands-on opportunity so that you're prepared, I guess, a little more than other people would be in the future.
Can you talk a little bit to that, how the connections and how your experience, because I think it's very important what we get out of Point Park and how you build the relationships and you build your connections. I think that's an advantage too that you get at Point Park. Can you talk a little bit about the connections that you have made and like the internships too?
Yeah, the connections so far have been really good. Thanks to Austin. Austin knows a few guys, Robbie and Smikowski. Been in contact with him a little bit. I think we're going to get brunch soon just so I can ask him some questions and be like, hey, what was your position when you went to college? Because I remember him talking like, hey, this is basically what it is. So you guys are getting the experience. Also, I know talking about how Bernie mentioned Corey Graves possibly in the future, which would be a pretty cool name.
Just DM me a couple days ago. We'll talk about that later.
That would be unbelievable. But yeah, going along with what you said and what you asked, giving those experiences that you could have and the opportunities like internships, I guess. I haven't got the opportunity to do an internship yet. That will be next year. But it's definitely a big helper, a helping hand if, like, let's say I can do an internship with the Penguins and be able to get that opportunity. And that's when it comes with people you can start knowing and getting your foot in the door. Because what they've done so far, like I know people are coming on sideline. You gotta ask them. You gotta say hello. You gotta put your name in there, because right off the bat, when you get to do that, then they know you. So then later on, they might remember you, or you can just ask them questions if they're nice enough. Like especially Robbie was to me. He's like, "Yeah, here's my card. Text me anytime if you have any questions." Perfect. There's your foot in the door. And not only that, but it's great because when they keep bringing people on like that, that's more names and more times you can get your foot in the door. So I don't know. It's tough to describe because I haven't really had too much of that experience yet.
But at least you've started it.
But I've definitely started it. Yeah.
What year are you in?
I'm a sophomore.
You're a sophomore, so you're still young. You still have a lot more time to go. Because I'm a senior. You're also a sophomore, Nick Brown, right?
Yes.
So you're both sophomores. I'm a senior. Getting those connections early on is so important. And I mean, we've talked about this a lot off camera. Like with all the guests that I've brought in on 2 Jag-offs, I've probably had about an hour to 2 hour long conversations before or after the recording sessions, just talking business with them. So yeah, I was able to pick their brain on the podcast and be like, okay, yeah, I have a guest. I have content to make out of it. But what I really learned the most from them was the conversation afterwards. Like, okay, how serious are you about this kid? How serious are you about getting into this kind of business? Because you know, my vision is to go into professional wrestling. That's where I want to be. I want to be a pro wrestling commentary. And it's pretty similar to Penguins play-by-play, Steelers play-by-play, baseball play-by-play. It's still on the road, still a lot of prep work, still a lot of post work. And just having those connections early on and being able to pick their brains, get those advice, you never know when you need them. And when the job opportunity does pop up, they might just give you a ring and be like, hey, Ryan Jones right here. We know this guy. Let's put him into the mix.
Exactly.
And that's what it's all about.
Oh, it's huge. Definitely a big. That's where you want to go, and that's the opportunity. And you got to take those advantages when you can get them, and you can't sleep on them.
No.
Not at all.
And I feel bad too because when we were at Sideline, the last like 2 guests that we've had on, I kind of already knew from beforehand, and I was like, "Come on, Matt, try and get somebody else I don't know, so I can meet someone new." Because Robbie came in, he's shaking everyone's hand, he's like, "Jag off."
Yeah, I remember.
I'm like, "Thanks, Robbie."
Yeah.
And then we have, I think it's Greg Brown tonight on. Well, this will be out before when Sideline already comes out, so we'll be good to at least say it. I think it's Greg Brown, and I just had him on 2 jag-offs. I'm like, come on, Matt, get somebody else. Get like Hannah Mears I had Rob King on too. So, but just try and get somebody else on within the business.
100%. Yeah.
Robbie's a good friend of our show. Robbie was sitting where you actually sat. So.
Oh.
Yeah, Robbie was. We've had Robbie on 3 different times, I think.
Yes.
Now. I've had him on 2 jag-offs twice and Steel City once.
That is awesome.
Yeah, so Robbie's a good friend of our show, and he's kind of said the same thing about getting the connections and trying to put yourself out there and getting your work out there. Because what Robbie does is he's writing his book, and I think the book is almost out, if not out already, Austin?
I have no clue.
I think it's almost out. I don't know if it's out yet, but I remember him talking towards later in the year. I think it was November, possibly.
So I'm very curious to read his book to see his experience and what kind of knowledge you can gain from that book.
Right
around the corner. And same thing with talking to those broadcasters too. Like you're gonna appreciate this. Josh Getzoff, he was one of the ones that gave me some of my best advice too, because like you, he was also sitting in this chair at one point. And I asked him, I was like, Josh, whenever you're getting on the road, whenever you're doing this prep work, I mean, how do you do it? Like, how do you stay functional? How do you stay motivated for it? And the number one thing that he told me that stuck was you got to love your craft. If you don't love your craft, you're not going to make it. So if you don't love hockey, you love hockey, you're going to make it because you love hockey and you want to do everything hockey related. I love wrestling. I'm going to do everything that I can to be in the wrestling business. Nick, you're a big finance guy. You love finance. You're going to try and get out there into the finance world. So when Josh Getzoff said that to me, I was like, okay, that's stuck. And prayers to Josh too. I don't know if you heard what happened.
Yeah, it was a bit tough with the I believe it was the Ducks game. It was the first game on the road.
Awful.
Must have not been feeling too good. Passed out. I believe it was during the second intermission. Joe Brandt had to come on and take his place. He has yet to be back since. I think he's just recovering, just getting a better headspace. But he says he's doing okay, which is really good.
I saw I reached out to them too a little bit. I was like, hey, just checking on you, making sure you're good. So shout out to Josh. Josh is a good friend of the show. So I was like, oh, no, not Josh. Like out of everybody, Josh was one of my favorites that I had on.
Oh, yeah. Definitely a good guy.
Very good guy. And we've had a lot of other guests on recently too. And Nick, I actually want to get your opinion on this real quick. This past Sunday on 2 jag-offs, I had the pleasure of bringing on Joe Dombrowski. I don't know if you know Joe or not, Ryan. He is a big-time pro wrestling commentator. He did Ring of Honor. He's done AAA. He's done
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I know that. Yeah.
He's right now in Major League Wrestling, so MLW. That's where like Kroger is. That's where like MJF was for a little bit. And now he's doing Pro Wrestling Revolver, just kind of on the indies for a while. Nick, you actually had the pleasure of meeting him. What's your opinion on it?
Joe connected with me instantly. Austin started his banter right off the bat, and I gave it right back to him, and Joe goes, that's what I like. And he kind of just went right for it. Joe took the time to talk with me a little bit, show me a little bit of the ropes. He was literally sitting here, literally putting his makeup on as we were like talking like behind the scenes. He was literally getting his stuff ready behind the scenes. And I think that before the episode connection, I think always before you record is when you get the biggest moments out of them because you get to know them. You get to get the feel for them. And so I was able to talk with Joe beforehand and then also be able to listen to the episode. And Joe is one of the guys that won't sugarcoat it. He will tell you literally how it is and will literally put you in your place if he has to. And I'm pretty sure he put Austin in his place before they recorded and many times after they recorded, just because Austin and his banter, you got to put him in his place, Ryan. You have to like lay down the law. He thinks he can say whatever he wants and nobody's going to come back. Well, I'm coming back at it because that is what I do and saying that was probably one of the best wrestling commentators you've had on. I'm curious to see who else is lined up because Joe is amazing. Joe's the best. You cannot have a guy not like Joe.
First of all, don't start with your shenanigans over there. It's too early for this.
No, it's never too early.
It is. And second of all, I will say I love Joe Dombrowski. Joe was one of my favorite guests that we've had on. I think the episode was like an hour and 18 long. It was an
You've
hour.
traveled with him many times to different wrestling events.
I have. We've been on the road to Dayton, Ohio twice. We're going to Indianapolis later this year. So like Joe's been like, because you know in the wrestling business around the best, like you learn the most in the car, like
Right.
picking the
Yes.
brains of wrestlers, picking the brains of broadcasters. That's kind of what I'm doing right now. So I've known Joe for quite some time. We went to the Brazilian Steakhouse before just to pick his brain, Eaton Park. So I love Joe. I'm happy with the episode. I'm happy to announce that this Sunday we'll have Toddy Tondera on. He's my broadcast colleague at 880 Wrestling. So we're going to have some 880 storylines going on there. It's going to be a really fun episode. But Ryan, I want to ask you this real quick. You said you listened to a couple episodes. What were some of the interviews that you've listened to?
So some of that I've listened to is one was Greg Brown.
Oh, thank you.
And
Greg.
it's so, I mean, I know that was pretty recent, but the thing about him, it's so cool to listen to his voice. And I know that sounds weird, right?
I know what you mean.
But Greg, you have such a distinct voice. And it was like weird because like I grew up now, I'm a Tigers fan, but loving the Penguins, like liking the Steelers. You got to root for Pirates as well because why not? You know what I mean? They're a Pittsburgh team. If they're succeeding, then 100% I love it. And always listen to them on the radio, and hearing his voice is just like so. I don't know. It was so unbelievable, and the fact that like he's such a good guy. He feeds off of questions so well, and he runs with them. Those are the people that you love to have on podcasts, and it's just. I don't know. It was weird. That was like my biggest excitement of the episode because I was like, holy cow, it's Greg Brown. 1, 2, you know the voice. You don't need to see it.
Exactly.
You know the voice. And it was just so cool just to hear you guys going back and forth and talking. And that was definitely a big one. I remember just like being all giddy watching it. I think that was really cool. Some guy named John.
Whoa.
That was that was a funny. Oh my gosh, I was laughing because I remember talking to you because the banner is so real, but it's, you know what I mean? I remember talking to you and being like, is he nice to you after the episode? I remember asking him at sideline. I was like, hey, are things good? Like, he's not like beating you up after the show, right? I was like, you never know. So I don't know. I guess you never know, but he's so perfect for what he does. And I know with you commentating on 880 is just your banner back and forth and doing it on here as well. The story is unbelievable. And those were definitely my two favorite, I think.
I appreciate that. Listen, I love Some Guy Named John.
Do
for
you
the
now?
simple fact, no, I hate Some Guy Named John.
Okay.
I hate him as a person. Okay, kayfabe me, absolutely can't stomach him. I wish him nothing but the worst. I hope he loses every single match going forward. I hope MV beats his ass on Thursday. That's what I hope. Not storyline wise, I will say Some Guy Named John was one of my favorites just because I love the banter. I mean, and it's so funny. You weren't the only one. I think I had like 5 different people at Sideline literally come up to me because that episode was posted on a Sunday. Sideline's recorded on a Tuesday. Everybody, you, Connor, a couple other people, they were like, Austin, are you okay, man? Like, like, are you really beefing with him online? Like, are you really getting into something? I'm like, no, it's a storyline. It's a storyline that's going on right now. But the cool thing about it is there's an entire faction he's a part of. It's called Leaders by Example.
Oh,
You've
yeah.
probably seen the t-shirt.
Yeah.
Leader's all right.
They're so-called leaders, I like to say. There's other leaders I may or may not be bringing on the podcast soon. There's gonna be a lot of episodes like John's coming out pretty
Unbelievable.
soon in kayfabe, which are, in my opinion, are my favorite ones. I love the ones when the wrestlers come on and they're in character. They're the most entertaining.
Oh, yeah. And it brings for a good conversation as well. So.
It really does. And I think John called me like an asshole within like the first 2 minutes of the episode, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't he?
So just starting it right off the bat. And that's good, though, because you got to keep the audience engaged. And
It's
he does that.
warranted.
It's like, oh, I ain't leaving. You kidding me? I'm watching this.
But he's
So-
no leader by example. Come on, Ryan. I'm the only leader here by example.
I don't know if I would go that far, but no, John, you suck. We don't like
Well,
you
I
here.
did hear, though, after the episode, there was like a big fight down here towards PPG between you and some
that
guy
you
named
guys?
John. Yeah,
Yeah,
was that you two?
I was trying to get on the bus, and he bumped into me. I gave him a little shove. He gave me a little shove back, flicked me off, and then he ran off like the little coward he is.
Wow. Didn't stick with it, did
No.
you, John?
No.
Wow.
They both live rent free in his head, and he didn't target me this weekend. But there was a clip that I posted about doing some guy named John's intro because I was recently the guest host on 2 Jagoffs, and John just liked it. Like, I don't know if we're cool between us now because we were beefing for quite some time.
Right.
And John has just like liked it and moved on. So I don't know if I'm also in his head rent free,
Yeah.
but he was actually cool. So I got to give some respect to some guy named John because he didn't target me. But we'll see if we have a peace truce. Between him and Austin, I don't think there's ever going to be a peace truce. And I think the banter and the shenanigans are always going to
You
continue.
think it's toast? You'll never be.
Oh, absolutely not.
No?
Some guy,
No.
I think it's a broken relationship because it all started. I'm going to break it down for you real quick, Ryan. It all started on 880 Wrestling. I started off as a commentator. You know this.
Yes.
I was so excited about it. It's my dream. I get to call wrestling every single week. I'm enjoying it. Leaders by Example are this
you're enjoying
faction
it.
that have a bit of a, I'm trying to think of the best way to explain this, a power struggle. Because Reese Hayes is a co-owner of 880 Wrestling. He just so happens to now align himself with John and Clayton King, who is John's best friend. So every time I'd call one of their matches, apparently I was a little too biased for them because they didn't like the way I was talking about them. So they would kick me off commentary during their matches. Reese would come over and be like, nope, you're out. You're out.
Wow.
So I would get kicked off commentary every match, and I would just be like, stand there. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not calling John's match this week. I guess I'm not calling Clayton's match this week. And it got to a point where I was like, I'm going to mess with them a little bit. So I'd take a selfie of me, like, flicking them off while they're calling the match.
Yeah.
They caught on to that. They didn't like it. They took it as disrespect. So now I get to have my spot on commentary, but they disrespect me every chance they get. They've called me names. I've gotten pushed. I've gotten flicked off. I've gotten called a virgin. I've gotten called a lot of different things by some guy named John and by these leaders. So I give it to them. Anytime I have a chance, if I see a trash can, oh, look, it's the Leaders by Example. Or if I see a pile of dog crap, I work with dogs at my full-time job. Oh, look, it's Clayton King. It's some guy named John on the ground. I'm going to play into it because that's just who I am.
Oh, you have to.
So that is a never-ending feud. It's now trickled down into my friend group. They've picked on poor Nick Brown over there. They've picked on Lucas. You know Lucas from Two Jagoffs. My buddy Kevin from back at home. Kevin's starting to turn on us now. He's starting to like the
he's
leaders.
starting to be like a leader, and I'm not sure if I'm fully leading it.
Kev, what are you doing?
That's
Yeah.
What are you doing, buddy?
That's what I'm saying. Like, he bought the T-shirt. Even Lucas is like, "Oh, that is a pretty nice shirt." And I'm like, "No,
He's
no."
repping the
Yes.
merch.
They're repping the merch, and
You got to be repping the Two
Nick
Jagoffs merch.
oh,
New merch available, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, Ryan.
I'm on top of it.
$25 large and extra large, limited supply.
Heck yeah.
DM me or Two Jagoffs at twojagoffs.official. But I appreciate the plug there. I was gonna do that right at the end. So
Oh,
perfect.
nice.
Yeah. Kevin is starting to, he has a t-shirt and is like
Yeah.
trying to get us to buy the t-shirt and feed into this Leaders by Example.
Oh, no way.
I'm never buying that.
I'm never buying that shirt.
Absolutely not.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but no, we'll try and get John on Steel City one day. I think that'll be a really fun episode.
Oh, fun.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just say I've been threatened before, Ryan. The leaders said they will come and pull me out of class at Point Park University to teach me a lesson if I keep up with my shenanigans. That's what they
Wow.
pretty much said.
Ryan, that means we need to be there front and center when that happens.
We have to be. Well,
With the cameras rolling.
are
But
you
no,
sure you're going
no.
to do
Yes.
that? Or are you all, bark no bite?
Ooh.
Is that what's going to happen?
We got to have a ship day on our side at least for this?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I think
We'll get Shamita with a kendo stick.
Oh, that'd be nuts.
pretty sure we'll have We Are Fam to support you. We'll have Feline Graves. Can't forget that podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, Steel City will have your back and Lucas for Two Jagoffs. So I'm pretty sure that
You're
this
set.
Leaders by Example and Kevin at this point.
Yeah.
I'd say this is more of a leading by example
Ooh.
than you guys. But
I like
like-
this.
yes.
Yeah. We're on pace now.
All right.
You're screwed, John.
it's over, buddy.
It's over.
Last thing about John, I still find it so funny that if you go through like all my interviews, it says interview with Greg Brown, interview with Robbie Spikowski, and then it just says some guy named John. So the people that don't, like, you get it because you're a
Yeah,
wrestling fan, but
right.
the people who don't get it, they're like, who's John?
Yeah.
Some guy named John? But they just get lazy and just cut off his last name.
Oh, that is awesome.
So I just find it so funny going through my YouTube page. I just see that and I'm like, that one.
That is
Ryan,
that's
here's
legendary.
here's a dad joke for you. Austin is always enjoying wrestling.
okay.
He doesn't get it. There's a wrestling company called Enjoy Wrestling.
Yes,
That's
I
why
do know. Yeah.
You know Enjoy. We
I
covered
know,
it on
yeah.
Sideline. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, bad joke.
And he's enjoying while writing 880 pages of wrestling for
Wow.
880.
That's
See, I'm pretty good at this.
it's not too bad. You should write a book.
Oh God, not another book that hits the store shelves.
Be a book.
Speaking of
Okay.
books, did you? John's an author too, by the way. But we'll just
Oh,
leave
what?
that
He's
there.
an author.
He has his
I'm
own book.
surely never ordering that book. Not in my cart. If it's available on Amazon, I am blocking that book. That is not coming anywhere near my house.
Yeah, not looking at that seller's.
I hope it's not at Point Park Library. We got to go check the shelves.
We'll check.
You got to go check them out and never return them.
Well,
That's
speaking
right.
of wrestling, since we're on the whole wrestling subject, why not let's just talk about it now? You're an avid WWE lover like I am, and
Right.
there wasn't too many really at Point Park originally. I feel like the ball is rolling now. We have a lot more wrestling fans here, and for the longest time when I went to Carleton, that's where I went to high school.
Okay.
Nobody there liked wrestling. It's a small school. My graduating class was 67. It's a very, very small school. And I was literally the only wrestling fan. Like, I was scared to wear wrestling t-shirts to school to be made fun of for it.
Okay.
When I transferred into Point Park from CCAC last fall, though, I was shocked to find out how many wrestling fans there were. And I think me and you were in Issa's class, and we talked briefly a little bit about
Yeah.
it. And then we kind of talked about it more at Sideline and some of the sports comm events. I want to ask you, what is your favorite part about WWE? What's your thoughts on it right now? I personally love it, but some days I'm like questioning it. What's your thoughts on it?
My favorite part about WWE is the experience. Now, I loved WWE growing up, but the experience of going to an event for your first time, and you don't even need to understand the backstory of these stories. Like going to my first time, I never understood the story. I think I was maybe 7 years old, and I was like, "Oh, guys are beating each other up. That's awesome." But what people mistake themselves with, they said, "Oh, it's fake." You know what I mean? Like that is one of the most. That's like such a trigger word for wrestling fans is fake, because it's understandably, if you want to go, oh, they're not really punching each other or whatever, that is one of the most physical things you could do in all of, and not only entertainment, but sports, is being a professional wrestler. But not only that, but you guys watch like Marvel movies, don't you? That's fake. You know what I mean? It is a story. It is I don't want to say sitcom, but it's a weekly episode, but they involve wrestling into it, and they have backstage stories, and it's so unbelievable. And my favorite part about it is the experience, because get to go there, and the wrestlers they put on 110% every single time that they go into the arena, so you're going to have a good show no matter what. And I think for me, going into Erie Insurance Arena, I think when I was 7 years old, seeing Randy Orton, seeing Rusev.
Rusev, he's back.
Oh, yeah. Seeing Rusev, I remember The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler was my favorite, and I became a Dolph lover for the rest of my life. And
Would you say that's your favorite of all time? Dolph?
He's my goat of wrestling is Dolph Ziggler.
Okay.
Now Nick Nemeth in TNA, but I think he's going to have his contract is over soon. So I think he might be coming back. You never know, just for that one last run.
There's the rumors of Jericho coming back too, so who knows?
Be awesome.
That would be awesome. I'll tell you what, I hate it when people say it's fake, because just as well as I do, I've been on the independent scene for a while. And independent wrestling is like a step up from the mainstream stuff, because obviously it's a little more protected in the sense that they got to watch out for their TV deals and make sure they don't break their contracts. Independence, it's just in a random high school gym somewhere, and then kind of do whatever the hell they want. When they say it's fake, though, you brought up a really good point. Yes, the punches might not be real, but you can't fake landing on your back 15 times in a match. It's a plywood square with metal beams to support underneath. There's no springs. It's a plywood board, and they have a very thin mat on top of it just to cover up the wood. That's really all it is.
Yeah.
They have very thin padding on the outside. That's a real turnbuckle. It's hard. It feels like a beanbag. It's not soft. So landing on that, and I've taken a bump in the ring. I'll tell you right now, it hurts. My back hurt the next day. Running the ropes, it hurts. It leaves marks. Oof. The ring it's the real deal, but they are some of the most athletic people you can imagine out there. Just the stuff they do week in and week out, and they're telling a story at the same time. It's sports entertainment. It's the best of both worlds. You get a little bit of the sports aspect, a little bit of the entertainment aspect, meshed in the one big story. There's drama, there's love, there's romance, there's comedy, there's even sci-fi. Go figure. There's everything within wrestling.
Yeah, it's something. It's like no other, and I'm really happy that it is gaining. I know, with it now being on Netflix.
Yeah.
For about. Has that been a year now? A little over a year?
It's about a year, yeah.
I think because January, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was January.
Right, yeah. So being in Netflix, getting that extension, which is making it more accessible for people, it's definitely growing. I think wrestling is the hottest it's been since, in my opinion, I think it's the hottest it's been since, I've been alive. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Do you think it's like, I don't know. I think it's definitely the hottest it's been, in my opinion.
The last couple months, I feel like is starting to trail down, but you can't beat Cody taking the title from Roman Reigns. That there was the pinnacle of this generation. That was a moment that's going to be on the replay button. We saw the Hogan and Rock stare off, Andre being slammed by Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold stunning Vince McMahon, John Cena winning his first title in the crowd, holding it up after defeating JBL. I think that was 2004, Unforgiven. The thing is with WWE right now, they really didn't have those monumental moments. They really didn't have those established characters. You can look top to bottom of the roster now and say, yeah, each and every single one of these guys could be a champion right now.
Right. From
the Braun Breakers to the Carmelo Hayeses to even the Ilya Dragunovs, who just won the U.S. title. Shout out to Ilya. You got Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, who's on the shelf, Gunther. There is so many stars right now that you can build. So I would agree with you. I would say, yeah, right now in terms of quantity, there is so much great talent. Now, the quality of the product, that's where I start to question it a little bit, because WrestlePalooza, in my opinion, was a fail.
It was awful.
It was.
I'm sorry, but it was so bad.
I watched All Out and WrestlePalooza that week. AEW topped the cake. It was amazing. Even the women's triple threat match from AEW was much better than anything WrestlePalooza put on. Outside of the Stephanie and Io match, I was not sold on anything. I was not sold on the McIntyre match. I was not sold on Cena versus Lesnar. Your first impression on ESPN is a squash match with 15 German suplex.
Yeah.
Really? That was abysmal. But, I mean, the Cena retirement tour, you can't beat that. One of the biggest heel turns of our generation.
Yeah.
Cody being on top right now. The world title. Seth Rollins completely revamping his character. Becky, the women's division. The women's division is at an all-time high. The tag division is now elevated. It's hard to argue why this isn't the best era right now.
Right. Yeah. And I don't know. It started, and I agree with you though. It started to fall off a little bit, but I think Sammy's open challenges definitely helped me. Is because what they did, I don't know, throughout I guess Roman's reign and how Cody took that off of him is they really got away from the fact that titles were being switched on Mondays and Fridays. It was if it's not a PLE, it's not happening. Right. And I like that they started to do that open challenges and stuff like that and giving it to Dragunov on Friday. I really like that. And I hope they continue with that because I really don't. I got really tired of waiting to PLEs to see stuff happen. I think I got really lucky because I went to SummerSlam in
Still jealous.
went to SummerSlam in Cleveland, saw Roman's return, saw a lot of crazy stuff, saw the turn of the Judgment Day. And then I went to Friday Night SmackDown the night before, saw a tag team change on that Friday, which was really cool. But I think that start of that tag team switch, like giving the titles over on a Friday, I think that's what kind of started it. And it's been a little drag since then. Now, I'm okay with someone holding a title for 4 or 5 months. I mean, that's fine. But when they're holding it for, I don't know, let's say a year and a half, and the crowd has just been meh from month 8 to beyond, it's like you got to make that switch.
And the part that bothers me the most is Sami Zayn's title reign, I think, was only like 30-some days or 40 days.
Right.
It was short. It was like about a little over a month. He had 6 title defenses, including his loss to Dragunov. The Judgment Day, and I love Finn Balor and JD McDonough. I really do. They're two of my favorites, especially Finn. But they held the titles for 112 days until they lost last night to AJ and Dragon Lee. They only defended titles 3 times. 3 times in 112 days. You're
That's
telling me
insane.
you couldn't get the world tag titles on at least a pre-show or at least on a PLA to start off the show
Right.
or even on a SmackDown or Raw? You're only 3 title defenses in 112 days? That's since Mania. That's since SummerSlam. That's since, I know we have War Games coming up. We had Crown Jewel. Like, you're telling me you couldn't get the tag titles on at least one of those shows?
Yeah.
Makes no sense. But I love the product. And the thing with wrestling too right now is not even just WWE. There is so much places you can look. Like TNA right now is on fire. I love what TNA is doing. AEW, it's a love-hate relationship. I had the pleasure of being there recently. They're doing really good stuff right now. I just love that there's so much different product that you can choose from, and there's stars in every single promotion.
Right. Yeah. And bringing in people, like, what are your opinions on bringing in guys like, I know they kind of did that with Travis Scott, like Speed, bringing in those influencers to try to build the brand even more. In my opinion, I think Logan Paul is doing phenomenal. I think he is an unbelievable wrestler. I think he's definitely gained his name. Do you think they should be bringing in more people to, like, in that social media type of realm to bring the engagement even higher?
I was against it until Logan Paul joined. I was against it for the longest time because I was like, okay, I understand the celebrity aspects. I mean, we've had Snoop Dogg before. We even had the president, Donald Trump, there at one point in time.
Right.
And they all gave something to the business. Like, Trump was the GM and had the hair versus hair match with Vince. And then we had Snoop Dogg beating The Miz at Mania. And Travis Scott was a big turnoff for me because I hated how he was involved in the main event at Mania. Just like me, I'm assuming you wanted The Rock also to be there.
Right.
It would have made the most sense to have him there. Obviously, Hollywood said otherwise. But Logan Paul completely changed the game. Like, his first couple matches, he was putting on bangers with guys like Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Rey Mysterio, John Cena. Like, these are the GOATs of our era. And he was going toe-to-toe with them and actually holding his own. So he deserved that U.S. title reign. I was very happy with it. I wish he defended it a little bit more.
Right.
But again, you can only give so much as an influencer. I would not be mad if Speed came back and did more stuff. I think Speed's Rumble appearance was great. I think Speed taking the RKO on the announce table and the Prime bottle was great.
Oh, that spear by Breaker, too, is
Oh my
nasty.
gosh, he cut him in half.
Yeah.
I'm all for having influencers if they execute it properly. Like Jelly Roll. I love the way they executed Jelly Roll with that tag team.
100%.
I think that was perfectly done. Travis Scott was a complete failure. It's always going to be hit or miss. But the thing is, the celebrity got to love it. And Andrew Schultz actually brought this up on his podcast because he recently did some stuff on Monday Night Raw, the comedian. And he said that he noticed that a lot of the times when these celebrities come on, they just do it for the paycheck or the notoriety or just getting the experience. You got to actually love and understand wrestling to make it work. Tyrese Halliburton, he understands wrestling. That's why when he had that standoff with Jalen Brunson when the Knicks and Pacers were going at it, that worked. They made merch off it. It was a moment. It was all over ESPN. It worked. Travis Scott, though, yeah, he's one of the biggest names in the industry right now in terms of music, but it just didn't execute well. He completely botched the punch on Cody, completely showed Keller. It was bad. It was not good at all.
Yeah, he wasn't mentally prepared. He was thinking about, I feel like he was just like, I'm going to have a big moment. I'm going to focusing on that me aspect and not looking at the overall sense of, I don't want to say he didn't do his research, but I really don't think he did his research. No. I think they're like, hey, you want to be on this? This is what you're going to do. Okay, that's the first thing he heard about it. Because if he understood the lore behind everything that happened, he'd understand, okay, this is how I'm going to do it. This is why I'm doing this. And it could have completely shifted what, like, the momentum and, what the reaction was in general.
I don't remember if it was 2009 or 2010, but when Mayweather had his match with the Big Show, I don't know if you remember this or not.
Oh, yeah.
Mayweather did not understand the thing he was doing. He was actually punching the Big Show, broke his nose and everything.
Yeah.
So guys like that don't understand the business. And again, it was good for TV at the time, but it didn't really pay off. Like us as the wrestling fans, we're watching this and being like, wait a minute, why is he actually hitting him? Like this doesn't make any sense. Same thing with Travis Scott. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, do you not watch the product and understand it? Because at heart, us wrestling fans, at least the most of us, I would hope, understands, yes, they're putting on a so-called act. It's predetermined. That's the word I like to use. I like to use the word predetermined. I hate using the word fake because it's not fake. I don't even like saying scripted because a lot of the stuff's called on the fly too.
Right. Yeah.
Like I've seen wrestlers and I've had wrestlers on and I've talked to them and I said, listen, whenever you guys are running through your matches, do you know each move that you're doing? And they're like, well, we know how we're going to get to the finish and we know a couple of the stuff beforehand, but a lot of the spots are called on the fly. Hey, headlock, drop kick, punch me real quick, slap me, and a lot of the stuff is improv.
Yeah.
And you can't fake that. Can't fake that at all.
No, not at all. And yeah, the gorilla is such a important aspect, and I'm so happy that I don't know. I know some people were controversial about it, but I'm so happy that they did Unreal, that series for WWE, just to get a little backstory, and they did it in the perfect time too, where it's just as popular as you're probably going to get it for a while, and to give that understanding of, okay, it's still super popular, but we're gonna lay the level. Because no one ever expected them to be like, yep, it's predetermined, but they did it in my opinion, I think they did it in such a great way just to give the audience and be like, it's not what people, it's not actually punching each other. Sometimes it's not real blood. It's, this stuff's not going on, but look at all of the things down the line of what we're doing. This is how precise everything has to be, and this is how much work we put into every single second of the show, and it gained respect by so many people.
And when I went to AEW, and we talked about this a lot off camera too, I was in Gorilla. I got to see how the show was run. I got to see what Tony Khan was doing. I got to see a lot of what the EVPs were doing. And everything that they explained on WWE Unreal translates to all wrestling aspects. TNA does it. AEW does it. New Japan probably does it. There's a lot of bodies involved with it. Like, even the people that you see on camera, like, okay, yeah, the referee, he's just there. No, he's not just there. He has an earpiece, and he's communicating back and forth with Gorilla, what's going on. The ring announcer, he has an earpiece. They're communicating. It's all one big team to put on a show. It's not like you just go out there with a microphone and say, okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to AEW. And there's a switch within wrestling. You saw it earlier probably in this episode. You played into it. When we were talking about John, the switch came on. I was like, okay, I'm in wrestling mode right now.
Right.
Selling the story right now. I got to kayfabe. We got to play in the kayfabe a little bit. A lot of people that don't understand that, they're like, why? This is just acting. You're just sounding childish right now. And some people may take it as that because they don't understand the product at hand. But in your heart, you got to understand, listen, this is a story we're trying to tell, and we're trying to entertain people. That's the entertainment part of this business. So when I'm beefing with John or whatever, as soon as you bring up his name, I go, oh, what the hell? Like,
yeah.
Why are we talking about this guy?
It clicks.
Screw that. It clicks because I'm like, all right, kayfabe time. Let's play into this. And sometimes, and you'll probably get a good laugh out of this, sometimes I have fun with it, especially in public, because they don't understand it. So like they may bring something up like wrestling wise, and I'd be like, oh, screw that guy, like completely, like screw Braun Breaker. He just speared Seth Rollins in half. What a jagoff he is.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, it's fake, right? And I'm like, no, he turned on him. They got Paul Heyman involved and Bronson Reed giving him 5 tsunamis. Like, well, what's wrong with you?
Oh,
Come
that's
on.
awesome.
And you just play into it, and you get a good laugh out of people because they A, look at you like you're crazy, and B, it sets up further conversations. But professional wrestling holds a special place in my heart. What's your thoughts though on all the other promotions? You like what's going on with AEW, TNA? You think you keep up with them at all, or are you just centered mostly WWE?
Mostly centered on WWE. I've been looking a little bit into TNA, not a crazy amount, but since Nick is in there, Nick Nemeth, I don't know why. Something about him, his selling, everything. I've loved Dolph Ziggler my entire life, and I focused on TNA a little bit. Not as much AEW. When AEW started getting like really, really big, like MJF starting WWE or AEW, excuse me. His start into that when it started getting more big than it was. I started getting into a little bit, kind of fell off and just stuck with WWE. But I think they're doing great. Definitely both, especially TNA. They are on a hot streak, both of them. But they're getting a lot. I mean, the talent there is definitely way better than it was a few years ago.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know too much about it, so I couldn't really go too much into it, but I definitely think they're doing a great job.
They are. And again, when I was there backstage, I'm going to keep talking about that just because that was such a crazy
Oh, yeah.
experience. But just seeing the way they ran their show and like how they put together their storylines, it's not any different than WWE. Like, it was so funny because when I was walking through those halls, I felt like I was like in the Unreal documentary that was put out because, I watched it just like everybody else did. And the things they explained about Gorilla, okay, this is where the locker room is, hair and makeup. You get to see that in all the other promotions too. It's crazy. It's crazy how that works. But AEW, man, I'll tell you, they are on a hot streak. I love the storylines they're putting on right now. Their women's division is stacked too. Mercedes Moné, formerly known as Sasha Banks, she's on a roll. Love what TNA's doing with the whole NXT merger. I'm a big NXT guy, so seeing how NXT is finally getting the showcase on like a bigger promotion, that's really cool in my opinion. But no, man, pro wrestling's killing it right now. If you want to get into pro wrestling, now is the time to do it.
100%.
That is what I always tell people. I want to transition over to hockey, though, real quick, because we could probably talk wrestling for another 2 hours if we really wanted to, and I feel bad for poor Nick Brown over there. Let's talk some Penguins. You got the shirt on.
I do.
You're repping them. Nick, I want to start with you first. You've been a little quiet over there. Thoughts on the Pens so far? They're looking pretty good so far this season.
They're looking pretty good. Ryan, what's your thoughts on this new coaching staff and...
Oh, you're giving it to him. I was giving it to you. I want to hear your thoughts.
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Okay.
I'm not the guest. Ryan's the guest.
All right, Ryan, you get that.
What's your thoughts on how this season come about, this coaching staff change, and just the overall Pens feeling right now?
Let's go Pens.
Let's go Pens. I love this feeling. Definitely haven't felt... I don't want to get my hopes up too extremely much because I don't want to get heartbroken like I have the previous years because you get too excited, then they just screw everything up. But I love what they're doing right now, the new coaching staff completely shifting the bench. Mike Sullivan going to New York. We get a guy like Dan Muse. These guys look completely different, and we do so well when there's a new voice in the locker room. We saw that with Mike Sullivan coming in 2016. We won back-to-back cups. Dan Milesa comes in 2009. We win a cup. When this team has a new voice in their locker room, it's a completely different spark, and we look like a contending team right now. Now, I know we've only played 6 games, right? There's 82 in the year. We played 6 games. We're 4-2, but this team looks really good. I've seen interviews with Dan Muse. He is locked in. The players who last year with Sully, not put anything against Sully. Sully's an unbelievable coach, but you need a new voice in there. And once you have a new sense of hope, then that's when sparks fly. And I love that he's allowing younger guys to come into the bottom 6 and those 3rd and 4th lines. What Muse is doing is he's giving them an opportunity, and he's doing it early. He's doing the same thing with the goalies. Instead of having not Mirshov, excuse me, but Shilovs, we got him from Vancouver. He plays in game 1 against New York. I love that because everyone's like, oh, Jari's going to be the starter. He's been part of this organization longer. He's going to be the starter against New York. Shilovs came in, had, I think, it was a 37-save shutout. Unbelievable. We won 3-0. And I love that move because the second game, they put in Jari. And that's not what we normally do in the past is what Sully did is he'd be like, oh, Shilovs is doing great. Keep him in. But I like what Muse is doing because he's going, okay, great, put Jari in. Now, Jari did great as well. And they're a great goalie tandem. They're doing fantastic. But I love that he's doing that, and he's testing everything early. With the younger guys, he's giving them that 9-day trial to be able to show themselves and see if they can keep a roster spot. But what's different than what other people have done, which I love that he's doing, is he's doing everything early, because if there's a time to test what you have, it's now. It's stop focusing on you can't focus on the later, you have to focus on the games immediately. And what he's doing is going, all right, I'm giving everyone a trial. This is what this guy does in these scenarios. This is what this guy does in these scenarios. And if you end up dropping 8 games in a row in the beginning, then whatever. But you got it figured out when it really matters. And I love that he's doing that.
And not just that, too. You're not going to have Crosby forever. You're not going to have Letang forever. We're not going to have Malkin forever. If you're going to win, now's the time to win. Now's the time to do it when you still have the trio around. And I'll be honest, I've not kept up with as much hockey as I would like to have. But just from what I'm seeing right now, this is a new lit fire under this team. I am very impressed as a Penguins fan. Like you, I don't want to get my hopes up, so I don't want to get too excited now because I've seen it before. But the thing with Mike Sullivan, and I've talked about it time and time again, I think we even talked about it on Sideline at one point, was it was just time to go. The relationship was broken beyond repair. It's not that Mike Sullivan's a bad coach at all. He's a great coach in my opinion. He won us 2 championships. But the thing is with him, it's just like Andy Reid. I like to tie this back into the NFL. Okay. When Andy Reid was the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, he was great. He took them to a Super Bowl. He took them to the pinnacle. He's worked with so many future Hall of Famers. But it got to a point where the team wanted to go in a different direction and he wanted to go in a different direction. That's the point when you move on. That's kind of where the Penguins were at too for a while with Sullivan. They were at a stay still. Sullivan was at a stay still. You got to move on and try something new. Sullivan will go find success elsewhere. Now he's with the Rangers. We'll see what happens there. Pens now have Muse. They're finding success. Same thing happened in the NFL. Andy Reid went to the Chiefs. Look what happened since he got to the Chiefs.
Oh, yeah.
Philly went to their direction. Look what happened in their direction. They got 2 Super Bowls out of it. Kansas City got a few. It's all about making sure the relationship and everyone is on the same page. And having Sullivan now somewhere else and having Muse now in the door here with Pittsburgh is going to do them justice. And I was worried at first because I didn't really know too much about Dan Muse. He's proved himself.
Oh, he definitely
has proved himself. I'm very excited about this team. I'm not saying we're going to the Cup or anything because I don't think we're going to go that far. I'm not Mr. Dallas Cowboy fan over there thinking we're always going to win something.
Oh, you're a Cardinals fan. That really turned out pretty well this weekend.
At least I'm not delusional. But I'm very excited to see the Pens. I really am.
I am too. And we play Vancouver tonight. This is a team that's also sitting at 4-2 and is kind of sitting there between that. Are you going to be a first-round exit or are you going to be super, super good? And they're sitting at that location. They brought in a few big names. They even brought in Marcus Pettersson, a guy that the Penguins had for a while. So they're kind of trying to find that identity as well. So it's going to be kind of cool to see them tonight, both going head-to-head. I have a weird feeling. I think Vancouver's such a fast team. I'm going to the game, so I hope it goes well.
Okay.
But
go Pens.
Yeah, go Pens. But there's a lot of teams that are finding a way. They're not really meshing as well. Like Florida's starting off. Now, of course, Florida won back-to-back Cups. They're expected to be another Cup contender this year, but they started off a little iffy in the beginning of the year. So if you want us to jump off hot, now's the time to do it, and I think they're doing a great job.
Who's your early Cup predictions?
Oh, man. Holy cow. Early Cup predictions.
I haven't thought too much about it, but if anybody has, it would be you.
Yeah, I definitely have thought about it. And at the very beginning, of course, after we won 3-0 against the Rangers, I was like, oh, Pens, but no.
Let's go Pens.
Yeah, I think the Hurricanes.
Ooh,
I think the Hurricanes.
Because finally the time.
Yeah, I think the Hurricanes are going to make it out of the East, and I think they're going to be because I don't think the Rangers are going to be as good. I don't think the Capitals. I don't even think Ovi's getting 30 goals this year. That's a huge hot take that we have on Have a Shift Day. Everyone disagrees with me.
Wait, you don't think so?
Oh no, I said I don't even think he's going to break 25.
Ooh,
I don't know about that one.
And,
wow.
Well, here's the thing that he got his record. He's 2 away from 900. And he got his record that he wanted because everyone was consistently passing to him. Now they're like, okay, well, you got your record. Whoop-de-doo. They started off the year. He only got 1 goal on a wacky bounce that it was off a face-off, and he just had like an open net to shoot in, whatever. But he's getting older, and that's what separates between him and Crosby. Crosby's still playing a 200-foot game. He's got a good shot. And I don't know. I think that's going to take a toll on him, and he's not going to be doing as well this year. But I guess we'll find out. But I think it's going to be the Hurricanes out of the East. And the West, I think, I don't want to say it, but as of right at the start, and I take this with a grain of salt, but I think it's going to be the Vegas Golden Knights. They just got Mitch Marner. They're going to end up looking really good. I think the Knights are going to take a long distance, but you got to deal with the Oilers. You have to deal with the Avalanche. So the West is definitely tougher than the East right now. So, but those are my two.
Don't the Hurricanes have some record where they're 9 straight playoff losses and something? Or what's the stat? I might have read it wrong. Carolina has when they reach a certain point in the playoffs, they're 0 and something.
The third round of the playoffs.
The third round.
When they reach the third round of the playoffs, I think they're sitting at 0 and I don't know. They haven't won a game in the third round because they got swept.
Yeah.
Right? They got swept by Florida 4-0 in the third round. The previous year, I think they made the third round, got swept by Florida. I think they're sitting at 0 and 11, 0 and 12. So they have yet to win in X amount of years. I think it was 0-1 when they won the Cup. So I think it was 0-1 was the last time they've won a game in the third round.
Wow.
That's just horrible.
And you think they're going to go all the way. So it's going to be Hurricanes, Golden Knights. Who's winning? How many games?
I'm going to take the Golden Knights.
Okay, that's safe.
I'm going to say in 6 games. the thing about the Hurricanes is they're a good team, and I think they're going to win the Metro, and I think they're even going to win the East, the entire East. But I don't know. It's just the East in general just doesn't look as good. Florida's a contender. I don't think Tampa's going to make the playoffs this year. Everyone's like pushing for Tampa. I don't think it's going to happen. But the East does not look as good as it did 8 years ago when it was 2018, 2019, when they were like, oh, if you get by the East, you're set. I think it completely flipped over, and it's the West. So I think the Hurricanes are going to make it out of the East, but they're not going to be able to beat Vegas.
Okay. No Kings, no Stars, none of those other teams you think going to be back up in it for the West? I think didn't the Stars like collapse this year?
Yeah, the Stars aren't looking as good right now. I think the Stars are going to be a contender. I think it's going to be Stars Vegas once again.
They were my favorites last year to win the Cup. I had the Stars.
Yeah,
then,
I had Winnipeg, and that didn't go too well.
Oh, yeah.
In the second
a lot
round.
of people had Winnipeg last year.
Oh, yeah. I loved them, but no, I see the Kings going against the Oilers again in the first round. So, I mean, we'll have to see what happens with that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think Vegas is going to take it.
All right. That's pretty solid. Well, I want to move into some baseball now real quick.
Okay.
And you're a Tigers fan.
Yes.
I'm so sorry for you. I thought about you at like the next morning. I think, would you stay up till like 2 a.m. watching it?
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
We now the World Series is set. It's going to be Blue Jays, Dodgers. What's your thoughts so far? Who you got?
My thoughts of the Dodgers. I want the Blue Jays to win. It's a Canadian team. I love Canada, like as a huge Sidney Crosby fan. Everything.
You've been
like
to
that.
Canada?
Like, yes.
You have?
Yeah.
Is
Been to
it worth
Toronto.
it?
It's definitely worth it.
Toronto's on the bucket list. That's why I'm asking.
It's unbelievable. Went to
Okay.
Toronto. Went to the Hockey Hall of Fame. It's phenomenal. Definitely a trip you want to take. But I'm hooking for the Blue Jays to win. I want them to. They beat Seattle, even though I think Detroit should have beat Seattle. But how are you going to beat the Dodgers? I think the Dodgers are like the Chiefs. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
Like
That's
a few
good
years
point.
ago, the Chiefs.
Oh, that they cheat? You could go that route too.
They're not cheating. They're not the Astros. I'm
don't
not going
you
to say that. They're not banging any trash cans like the Astros or you know. But I think that the Dodgers are going to win. I hate to say it, but I know that Toronto has home field advantage. I think the Dodgers are going to take it in like 5.
That's what I was going to say. I have Dodgers in 5.
Yeah, I just don't see this team losing, and I don't see them losing next year.
And Ohtani's a star. I mean,
Oh my god!
When you give a player almost $800 million, I would hope that they would win a playoff and continue to move down and
Right.
win because $800 million. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Let's get real here.
I am like 98% sure that the Dodgers are going to win this, even if it's in 7. And I will be happy if the Blue Jays win. I'll also be just extremely shocked.
yeah. Well, I'm a big Guerrero guy too, so I mean, like, I wouldn't be mad at the Blue Jays winning.
No,
at all.
100%. But the Dodgers, though, they look so good. Their depth in that lineup is just scary. Pitching, Shohei pitching as well, insane. I just have Dodgers in 5. I think they're just a great offensive team that they're just going to be able to they're going to be able to get a run and just run with it the entire series.
I have Dodgers in 5 too. I could see it possibly going to 6, but I don't know. It's just so hard to stop them right now.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, they've been so dominant. Last year, what was it? Dodgers and Yankees, and we saw what happened there. I mean, this whole playoff run has been crazy. I originally had the Mariners in it. I thought the Mariners were going to go all the way just because I think they had the MVP on their team. They were playing lights out. They have a lot of motivation behind them because they haven't been here in God knows how long.
Right.
And we saw what happened. What was it last night in Game 7 against the Blue Jays?
4-3.
4-3. Oof. I don't know. This is a good time. Baseball is popping off right now, too. I've been saying this for a couple of years. Again, I'm football, basketball, wrestling. That's like kind of where I'm at. Wrestling, number 1, obviously. Football, 2. Basketball's kind of 3. I got to be honest with you. I've been keeping up with baseball recently. I've been enjoying it. And I've been keeping up with your Tigers, too. Your Tigers were nice this year.
Oh, we were really nice. We started off the year first in the league. We were looking unbelievable. We were right at the tippy top. We were the top of the candle on the cake. It was crazy. And then the last, I want to say 16 days, we won maybe 2 games and just dropped and went down and got that wild card spot. We could have been sitting in a bye week. It could have been unbelievable. I think we'd had more time to rest, but we played a scary series in Cleveland and then should have beat the Mariners. We should have taken them because Scooball should have won that first game in game 2. And I mean, you can't even blame the guy. The guy gets 15 strikeouts in 7 innings,
Right.
and then you blow the next 3. It's like it looks like Paul Skeens when he pitches 8 innings, and then you bring in like I don't even know who. Like I don't even know who. Who's a good Pirates pitcher? Yeah, I can't.
Mitch
even
Keller?
Yeah, well, for like a reliever.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
I don't even
We got
know.
rid of Bednar, so I don't know.
Yeah, you bring in some guy and he blows it in the last.
Bring in some guy named John.
No.
Right, he'd be a great pitcher. Or like Rowdy Tellez was a phenomenal pitcher for us in two innings. But No, I don't know. It's tough to say. I got a bad feeling. I think Scoot Ball's going to leave. I don't know. I know a lot of teams are looking at him, and they're going to be able to pay a lot of money for him. But that team looked so good in the beginning.
In the words of Greg Brown, it was just, quote, terrible.
Oh,
That's how he described the season for the Pirates.
So what's your go-to teams then? So Tigers is your go-to baseball team then?
Yeah, Tigers is go-to baseball. I work for their minor league team, the Erie Seawolves.
Oh,
So,
wow, okay.
yeah, cooking food for just like people in the stadium, but also for the players when there's doubleheaders.
That's sick.
Sometimes I cook food, and I got to know people like Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson, Kerry Carpenter, Colt Keith. I saw Scoop play in the minors. It was definitely getting to know those players and watching them get into the major leagues is really cool because literally the Detroit Tigers is the 2020 Erie Seawolves. So seeing all of them play in Erie and getting to know them personally,
And now see them.
it's so unbelievable to get to see them in the majors. And so, yeah, it's Tigers.
Now football, is it Steelers then I'm assuming?
It's Steelers. So, yeah.
Okay, and then hockey's obviously Penguins.
Right.
And then do you have basketball or are you not really a basketball guy at all?
I never got into basketball.
It's hard. I'm more of a college guy than NBA guy, so.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I never even watched like March Madness. I get a lot of hate for that, but
Just give it to Louisville for his picks.
yeah, I don't know. I never really enjoyed basketball as much. I've been wanting to get into it, but I think the way the league is now, it was definitely more exciting when I was younger.
Oh, yeah.
But I just couldn't get to a team. Now if Pittsburgh got a team, that's the one I root for. But I don't know. Yeah, nothing with basketball.
So what would you say is the rankings between Penguins, Tigers, Steelers? Are you like...
Well, it's Penguins by probably a mile and a half.
Okay,
at
so
the
hockey's
top.
obviously the number
Yes.
one.
I've been a hockey fan since 2005.
Makes sense with the fit today.
Yeah,
So-
I've been bleeding Penguins my entire life, costing too much anxiety over it. Second is definitely Tigers for baseball, and then third is football. I used to hate football. I hated football my entire life until about 2 years ago. My best friend Brady from back home, shout out Brady, what a goat. He's a huge Steelers fan. And like I had family members who were big Steelers fans too, but I could never get into it. I don't know why. I looked at football and I was like, you know what? There's a lot I don't like about it. And there is still a lot I don't like about football.
Yeah.
But especially growing up at a hockey standpoint, it's literally completely different. But yeah, I'd say Steelers fan because just now finally getting into it with the past 2 years because, you're in Pittsburgh. So how could you not be a part of it some way? So
Us too, unfortunately.
getting into it and seeing the Steelers and rooting for them, going to a few games, it's been fun, and yeah, they're definitely there. But
Well, it's the bad teams. I mean, I pretty much wear every team. I swear I'm not an Oregon fan. I'm just wearing the shirts. I like the colors. Go Ducks.
that's cool. Yeah.
Go Ducks. But Nick, you were talking about your Chiefs over there for the Chiefs for a second. Could you please elaborate for our very special guest on what you were spreading earlier, please?
I'm trying to remember. It was a few weeks ago. What was it last week?
2 weeks.
2 weeks ago. I have made the claim that the Chiefs. I'm trying to remember. Who did they play 2 weeks ago?
They played the Jacksonville Jaguars.
They played the Jacksonville Jaguars,
Jags.
and they went on to win that game.
They lost that game.
Or they lost that game.
Yes.
Which game was I talking about that I don't remember?
Oh, they beat Detroit.
Oh, they beat the Detroit Lions.
Okay.
And that's when I started to go off saying they did not have a single penalty called on them that game. You're telling me as a Chiefs fan, you can't sit in front of your TV and tell me that there's a hold on the offensive line. You're telling me every time Patrick Mahomes scrambles, there's no offensive holding. Like, come on. We're just giving Patrick Mahomes a special Brady treatment, especially to roughing the passer. They are extra cautious on Patrick Mahomes than any other quarterback in the league. It is just so outrageous the amount of times he can draw the roughing the passer call than a lot of other QBs. Maybe it's the flop. Okay, it works, especially going out of bounds. But you're telling me the Chiefs, like, I'm not the only one that says it. There was a new study out too a few weeks ago saying that, I'm trying to remember the university, that actually the Chiefs do get more calls than anybody, that they favor anybody else in the league. Like, maybe that's why you're not interested in football. I don't know. They won 31-0 against the Raiders. Great. Congrats. I mean, I would expect that because the Raiders are just so god-awful. I don't know why you would watch that game. But that's my thoughts on the Chiefs.
Brian?
Do you agree, Ryan? I mean,
No.
Thank you.
I don't agree.
Thank the Lord.
Now, here's a thing that I could kind of, I'm going to try to kind of stick in the middle here, right?
Ooh.
Because I'm in the middle seat.
Oh, look, he doesn't like that. I already can get the looks.
I do not I am completely against thinking it's completely rigged. It's not scripted. There's nothing a part of that.
It's like wrestling, bro.
They're not. Yeah. They're not looking at them and being like, all right, Patrick, this is what you're gonna do. You know what I mean? Like they're not gonna be like, oh, this is not a call because it's Patrick Mahomes. Do I think there's a sense of like his tenure and being, I don't know, there's a sort of relationship like in every sport, right? Like Sidney Crosby has, with refs. He has a love-hate relationship with them in hockey, or with, I don't know, you have Judge. He's going to get a bigger strike zone. I don't care what people say. But with the football sense, it's like Patrick has such a tenure and he's always been the top of the league that, yeah, maybe a call, like refs are going to be more respectful towards him, but there's no way they're going to lean his side. There is no way that the refs are going to be like they're going to look at the review and be like, yeah, that's not roughing on the, you know what I mean? That's roughing on the passer. He hit, it was too late, or I don't know, there was offsides. Like, it's not going to favor, I think it's just tenure with the player in general, and maybe the team, but I don't know. I just can't sit down and go, yeah, they're favoring him.
I have said it time and time again. They are not winning another Super Bowl. He is done. Patrick Mahomes is done.
I agree.
No more Super Bowl.
What?
Austin doesn't.
I don't think that, like, especially the next few years, I don't think
Oh,
they're
no.
gonna win.
They're done. He's done in his career.
I don't think the Chiefs are gonna.
You really don't think the Chiefs are
Nope.
going to be back at all?
Nope. They may be back, but they're sure not going to win.
They're not gonna win. I can agree with that.
Why?
I don't know.
Are you a Patrick fan over there?
I'm not a Patrick fan. I'm just saying Patrick Mahomes is the single, if we're just going to talk about resume, he's the single best quarterback right now in football. I mean, he's going to be a first ballot future Hall of Famer when it's all said and done. Andy Reid's going to be a future first ballot Hall of Famer head coach. Travis Kelce is going to be arguably one of the greatest tight ends of all time when it's all said and done. This is a star-studded team. And listen, the thing is, the Chiefs, we all were quick to jump off the bandwagon at the beginning of the year because they started off, 0-2, 0-3. Let's not forget, Rashee Rice was not there. Xavier Worthy was not there. Pacheco was dealing with a hamstring injury, and they were out their right guard. They have them all back now. And what happened? They went out there and defeated Detroit, and they shut out the Raiders. Say what you want about the Raiders, a shutout is a shutout. They shut them out, 31-0 at home, divisional opponent. That's a big win for them. My thing is with the Kansas City Chiefs, I agree with Ryan here. I fully disagree with you, Nick. They are not favoring this team at all. And don't act like they didn't get calls. They got 2 offsides called against them in that game against the Lions. The Lions were the one that declined the penalty so they can get more yards. So it's not like the refs didn't throw anything on the Chiefs. They did. They just didn't get any accepted penalties. That's the difference. They're also the 5th most penalized team in football, if we want to break down stats. They're the 5th most penalized team in football, and they have the most penalized player in football. Jawan Taylor has the most calls all year. He's on the Chiefs. So you can't say the Chiefs aren't getting calls when they have the most penalized player in football. That makes no sense.
You tell me which official, because there's a lot of officials that get certain games.
Here we go, Ryan.
That it happens every week, that there are certain officials that get certain games that will make certain calls for certain players.
Disagree.
What would make you switch off of that?
It's a good question.
Like what are you waiting for to go on the other side? Are you waiting for them to just get like completely blown with calls? Because then there's going to be people saying, all right, well, they heard the people. Now they're just finding excuses to give them calls. And then that's unfair that way. And there's going to be arguments the other way. You're never going to find this balance with any team. The Steelers always, they always, fans, they're always talking about how they get too many calls. Their defensive end, Jones, isn't really offsides all the time. You know what I mean? But they're just calling the game. It's like, what are you waiting for the refs to do on the Chiefs' perspective to get to that other side?
I just want clarity, and I just want the NFL to actually be upfront with people and explain certain situations. The one call that a lot of people are triggered about was the Detroit Lions, how this whole illegal shift with how they went about with their QB. I get it. You called it. But there was 2 discrepancies. In the poll report, the official that was officiating that game, Craig Wolfston, he says, we did not have any help from New York or Kansas City. Dan Campbell says the opposite, that it was reviewable and there was New York helping them. Right there, that just creates a sense of just that emotion of, is New York actually stepping in? Because there are certain plays you can't review in that time frame. Would it have been for the Chiefs? Would they have done that for the Chiefs? Most certainly you could at this point say, oh yeah, they will go anything and above and beyond. And New York and Kansas would surely step in to get clarity for the Chiefs. Given it was the Lions, there was really no clarity. It's just we brushed it off. So there's the sense that the NFL is not really being upfront with people. It's not being very clear with people. And there's certainly a lot of calls that you can make that aren't reviewable. But in the sense, if New York really did step in, that creates a lot of sense of unworthy that you don't have that in your officials, that there was a minute and a half, I think, between when the play stopped to when the flag was thrown. Right there, that is a red flag. I'm sorry, but that is a red flag. For that much time, you had to review that play. You just can't all of a sudden, oh, we're not going to throw the flag after the play's over, then throw it again and throw one and say, all right, let's huddle up and discuss this. Right there, some review had to be made for them to throw that flag and for them to have their minute-long discussion.
But you can say that about every other team in the NFL. You can say that about every NHL team.
No.
You can say that about every NBA team, every MLB team. There's bad calls against every team.
But don't tell me you're not going to throw the flag a minute and a half after the play was over, discuss, and then make this ruling after. Like right there, that's just sketchy right there. If you're not going to be upfront, don't you? Am I the only one? I don't know. Don't you see this correlation, Ryan?
I think you broke Ryan.
That you're not like
I'm
upfront. Where's the clarity? Where is the upright truth from the NFL?
Yeah, but I feel like we've seen that with so many other teams too.
Thank you.
But-
Thank you.
But right now,
Thank you.
it's spotlighting on the Chiefs because I think of where we are in this
If
era.
the Chiefs didn't win the Super Bowls, would we be having the same conversation? No.
I don't know about that.
There's no way.
I don't know.
If the Chiefs were not Super Bowl champions, if Patrick Mahomes wasn't as good, and you were having those calls, the conversation would not be present.
You can disagree there because
I said this 2 weeks ago.
Okay, yeah.
I said this 2 weeks ago.
It's not
the study is-
present because like no one would care enough and be like, oh, why are the Chiefs winning? Because other teams are jealous that the Chiefs are probably they're better than them.
It's the Brady treatment, right? That's what I've been trying to explain to him. It's the Brady treatment. It's the same way when Brady was in the NFL. Everybody hated seeing the New England Patriots.
But they've
succeed.
taken it too far.
So they're going to pick apart every little call and be like, oh, they're favoring them. Oh, they're cheating. Obviously, Deflate game was its own thing, but they're going to pick apart every little thing. They're doing it with the Chiefs now, too, because the Chiefs are better than everybody else. Let's just call it how it is.
I don't know about that. I don't think they're winning another Super Bowl.
That's debatable.
I don't know. Ryan seems to agree with me on that.
I don't think they're going to win one, but I think they're going to be well in their division. I have a bad feeling that they're going to beat Buffalo again.
I think my Cowboys are going to the Super Bowl and win
I
it.
think you're
Fair and
crazy.
square.
Cowboys are not good.
What do you mean?
They're not
Didn't
good,
you
and
just
they're
see-
not Super Bowl
Does he
contenders.
sound like Matt,
Whoa.
does he sound like Matt Plangy over there, Ryan?
Whoa. Wait a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't you just see this game this weekend? My God, what a blowout.
Yeah, I know. It was one game. When it comes to playoffs, and you have so much time for players to either get hurt, players to fall off, and that's what we see every single year.
Nope.
It's the same thing with the Steelers. I love the Steelers. I do because I live in Pittsburgh and I started getting football like we talked about earlier. But some of the fans are absolutely delusional. I'm sorry, if you start the year like last year, we started, what was it, 6-0? Started last year?
Yes.
6-0. They're like, we're going to the Super Bowl. Here we go, Steelers. We're going to the Super Bowl. We're going to get 7 rings. It's going to be awesome. How much time in the season do you have left? Y'all got too happy. Look what happened. And you got absolutely pummeled. You got pummeled by Baltimore in the first round. And it's exactly what happens with the Cowboys. It's the same thing.
No.
In fact, sometimes they don't even make the first round.
They're making the first round, and they are going even further this year. I have that
I really
confidence.
don't think so.
Ryan, I like how you looked right at the camera. I could tell you had that wrestling tendencies like
Right,
I do.
yeah,
you cut your
yeah.
own promo right there.
Yeah.
Like, you Steelers fans, let me tell you what. You cut that promo perfectly.
Listen to me, brother.
You Cardinals fans absolutely suck.
Yeah, I don't know, but I just don't see. It's like you have to prove it, and if we're wrong, then we're wrong, and they do well. But what we've seen in the past years is they don't look. Yeah, they won, they blew them out, but they're not looking like a special team that could take this the entire way. You know what I mean? They're looking like they did last year. They look good, but are they Super Bowl winners?
Yes. They have
No.
George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb.
George Pickens is going to be another hothead like he was for the Steelers. He's going to start, he's going to start feeling that giddy George Pickens as he always did. He's going to play well, but when things don't go his way, the morale's going to go down and the team chemistry is going to go down because if one player is upset with some guys, then it's not going to run well. You saw the same thing with Aaron Rodgers.
Some guy named George.
You saw the same thing with Aaron Rodgers. My opinion, I like the Steelers. I'm not an Aaron Rodgers fan, right? But he's sitting there and he's screaming at the O-line some of these games, and he's like, you're doing this, you're doing that, when he completely threw it 20 feet over over our receiver's head. It's like, yeah, everything needs to gel right to have a good play, but you need to have a time to take that and be like, okay, this is where my fault is, and take responsibility. And I think that's a problem with the Cowboys too, is they don't mesh as a team so unbelievably well consistently.
They really don't.
So
All right. Well, we're going to end it off there because we could probably go back and forth with
Yes.
the Dallas Cowboys
yeah.
for a very long time. They're not making the Super Bowl. I just want to say that right now. They're going nowhere near it. They'll be lucky to make the playoffs.
You keep your comments over there.
But, Ryan, I do really appreciate you coming on this podcast, man. Thank you for
you
dealing
so
with
much.
Nick Brown and I's banter the entire time.
It's awesome.
Thank you for sharing your story. We're going to try and get as many Have a Shift Day members on this podcast and Two Jagoffs. You'll be making a debut on Two Jagoffs hopefully soon, too.
I'm excited whenever, yeah.
Join that podcast. I'm going to give you the chance to leave the final words with the audience. Anything you would like to add?
This podcast is unbelievable. And what I've seen from what I've seen from being in Have a Shift, sometimes it gets a little off the rails. I love everyone there, and I think we do very well over there. But the chemistry that you guys have is just so fun to listen to. And what I've seen, and it's true, it's like the banner between and between everyone, like people that you guys bring on, it has been so unbelievable. And I'm not just saying it just to say it and be kind. I genuinely enjoy it. There's podcasts, I'm not throwing names, but there's podcasts of this school that I don't listen to. You know what I mean? And there's things that I don't, you know what I mean? Like I'll try listening to it and it just doesn't gel. But you guys do such an amazing job. You have such bright futures ahead of you. And I really appreciate the opportunity that you guys could bring me on. Because even if I sit here and listen, I will do that. You know what I mean? Because it's so fun. You guys are great. Penguins are winning the cup this year.
Oh, bold prediction right there.
Yeah.
Love
Let's
it.
go Pens.
Let's go Pens. We'll take it.
No.
I appreciate the kind words, Ryan. It means the absolute world to us. So thank you very much for sharing that.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Wait, before we
God.
go, we have
I knew it was happening.
We have a very special event that is almost 2 weeks away. Less than 2 weeks away.
It'll
Is
be
there?
It'll be 1 week by the time this episode comes out.
Two Jagoffs Live in partnership with Point Park's Day of Giving, hosted by the one and only Austin Carnes from 4 to 7 in the Fishbowl. Be there, be square. Lots of drinks, prizes.
Two Jagoffs live.
Yes, guests.
Going live.
Why have I not heard of this?
You've not heard of Two Jagoffs
No.
Live?
I might have just been like scrolling past.
We'll have to tell you after the episode. It's a
Please
long
do.
spiel. Well, long story short, I will be hosting a live podcast for 2 hours, kind of like Pat McAfee did with his Big Night Out show.
Yeah.
I will be doing that at Point Park University next Wednesday. We're going to have an entire panel with Copa, some sports comm former alumni. President Brasaus will be there. We just made that announcement yesterday on the radio show. And we're going to be giving away prizes, and we're looking to raise $350,000 for students. It's going to be a good time.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Join there. Be there or be square.
Be there, be square. I'll be
Yes.
giving out some merch, too. It's going to be a good time.
Oh, I'll be there.
You'll be there?
Yeah. It'll be awesome.
He's
Let's do
locked
it.
in.
Locked in.
I'm locked. It sounds like a fun night, so.
It'll be a fun night. Well, thank you for the plug, Nick. And thank you all so much for tuning in to Steel City Commuters. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe. Go check out Ryan and Have a Shift Day. We'll leave links to all their podcasts as well in the bio. Until next time, see you in the next one.
Peace.